Yeah, take it off. Let me take control. And you've been wanting what you need, and I'ma give it to you. Before I dive inside for the whistle, I start swimming, ain't no drowning, no. Girl, don't make you better. We gon' mess up them covers too. Better stay up, I'm coming through to lay you down.
Okay, so on my channel, I'm gonna be real honest. This is a story time, and all my story times, they're gonna be real, they're gonna be honest, and you know, I don't care what people comment under them, you know, but this is my life, and I'm using YouTube as a platform to tell people about it. So this is a story time about when I lost the baby when I was 18, and it was a stillbirth. Okay, so let's get into the video. I knew because different changes. I might have been young, but I knew. I had nipple changes, TMI, all that stuff. So I found out I was pregnant, and I was so scared to tell my mom. I had me, my friends, and my boyfriend then at the time there with me, and I kept telling my friends, I was like, y'all, I think I'm pregnant. And we had a scare, to be honest, before, and that time it was just my period was a little late, and it literally came no, it wasn't late. I was supposed to come on in 2 days, but I thought I was supposed to be on already, so that was just a scare for me. But this time I was like, y'all, I think I'm pregnant, and they're like, no, we're gonna get a pregnancy test. Y'all, I had so much change. I had change. I was living on base at the time, so I went to the exchange with literally like a bag of change, and I bought 3 pregnancy tests. I noticed people was like, what the fuck? So yeah. And mama, you ain't lying. Okay, so she love her lying, y'all. Okay, so I went to this exchange with a bunch of change, having people look at me like I'm crazy, but you know, whatever. I went home with my 2 best friends, and I called them. I was like, hey, I'm about to go take the test now. So I went to go take it. As soon as I took it, line showed up. I was like, oh my God. So I literally took 2 more just to make sure. And they were like, oh my God. Like, they started crying. Like, they started crying before I started crying. Like, I was so scared. So then we called my boyfriend at the time, and we told him, hey, you need to just come over right now. So he comes over, and I'm like, so I just gave him the test. And he just looks, he looks like a shocked face, but he was kind of happy. But he looked shocked as fuck. So he literally just stood there and didn't say anything. And I'm like, all right. So then I had to tell my mom. I don't even think, my mom was on a trip. And so I was just waiting until she came back. She went to Vegas. So we was living in San Diego at the time. And she went to Vegas. So when she came back, she was at the store with my sister, and I texted her. I was like, Mom, I'm scared, I need help, I'm pregnant. What my mom said was, she said, that ain't my problem. That's what she said. I'm like, oh God. But I was just glad she didn't come home right away and whip my ass. So before she could come home and whip my ass, I went to my room, and I stayed in there until she got home, so she would have to come to me and I didn't have to go to her. So she came in there, she said, what you gonna do? I said, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. My mom, of course, like all moms of 18-year-olds and younger, are gonna give them all the options and all that stuff. But of course, I never, you know, I don't have a problem with, you know, people are gonna do what they want to do, but I'm not for abortion. I'm not gonna abort, you know, that's not what I would do no matter what age I was at, because I don't know, like, either, I don't know, I just can't do it. I can't take the mental problems after, and I don't mean mental problems, but I can't take that heartache. I can't take having to think about it, you know, so that was never an option for me. But I told her I was gonna keep it, whatever. Then my mom took me to the doctor, And I found out I was 10 weeks pregnant. I was a whole 10 weeks. Okay? So, we saw the baby. My mom was happy and all that stuff. But then, you know, being young and stupid, like living in California, I smoked weed a lot. Like, a lot. That's all I did. From the time I was 14, when I started smoking, it was an everyday thing, all day thing, with my friends, going out smoking things. So, that was just what that was. And me thinking, you know, weed isn't going to do anything, you know, I still smoked. I didn't smoke all the time, but I still smoked. And I didn't think nothing of it. You know, I kept going to the doctors, and, you know, I guess my mom would tell them, you know, test her. And they did. So I kept smoking. I had a friend that kept smoking when she was pregnant. She was pregnant before me, and she had a little girl. She smoked all the way till she was about 6 months pregnant and had a healthy baby girl. You know, I read up a lot on it, and nobody ever seemed to say that weed had hurt their baby. They came out healthy baby. So I didn't think nothing of it, being young and all that stuff. So I kept smoking, and then at one point I remember going to the doctor, and my blood pressure had rose, and they didn't think nothing of it either. And then I kept smoking, and my right ear literally went completely deaf. It went completely deaf. My left ear was going out. It got to the point I was in so much pain in my back. I started sleeping downstairs on the floor. I was crying every night. I was popping pain pills and stuff. Like, my freaking back was so hurt, and it felt like it was an inside thing. But I, being young again, thought it was all normal. I thought that the pain in your back was completely normal. I thought all that was normal. Everything. I thought that was normal. So then my mom keeps telling me, you need to go to the doctor. Like, you can't hear. I have always had hearing problems, seriously. But it was really bad, to the point my mom come in my room in the morning and be like, turn your TV down. Like, it was completely up because I could not hear. So I finally went to the doctor, listened to my mom, and when I got there, they did my blood pressure. And my blood pressure number was, the top number was 201. I don't remember the bottom number, but the top number was 201. And they're like, you're sitting down. Why is it 200? Why are you at 201? And you know, normal blood pressure is supposed to be between 120 and 140. That is normal. I was 201. So they thought their machine was broken. So they went and did a manual, and it was still the same number. So they kept trying to do it thinking something was wrong, and it was. They called my OB, and my OB said to go straight to the hospital. So I called my mom on the phone. I was crying, and she was like, okay, Kiki, it's okay. I'm going to get dressed, and I'm going to come get you. So my mom came and got me, and we went back to my house. She could finish getting dressed. She told me to eat something. And then on our way to the hospital, when I was getting close, she was like, Kiki, has your baby moving? And I haven't noticed. I haven't realized. And so she's like, shake your tummy, shake your tummy. And I kept shaking my tummy all the way until we got into the hospital. And I kept saying, Mom, he's not moving. He's not moving. By the way, I was having a boy. I kept saying, Mom, he's not moving. He's not moving. And then she was like, okay, keep shaking your stomach, keep shaking your stomach. At this point, I'm crying. So then finally they called me in, and they did an ultrasound, and they could not find the heartbeat. They could not find his heartbeat, and immediately I started crying. They looked for him on the ultrasound, and all you see was a white outline. You don't see anything. You just see a white outline of him. And that meant he was dead. So after this, they moved me to a room and forced me to go into labor, because they told me, they did blood tests and told me that I had preeclampsia. And any pregnant woman knows that what preeclampsia is when your blood pressure gets too high. And preeclampsia means before seizures. Eclampsia is seizures. preeclampsia before you get to that point. So my blood pressure is so high, they put me on seizure watch. They put me on all this medicine to get my blood pressure down. But of course, when you get preeclampsia, your blood pressure is not gonna go down until the baby comes out. And at this point, it was too late for me. So they started doing all these things, you know, trying to make me go in labor. They broke my water, all this stuff. And at this point, I'm like inconsolable. Like, I can't stop crying. My eyes are puffy. Like, I'm inconsolable. I couldn't do it. My mom was crying. My mom called my boyfriend at the time. She called his mom, and he came up there. He was crying. So it came to the next day to where I finally had him. I'm sitting in the room. My friends are visiting me, and I have an epidural in, so I didn't know. I knew I was having bad contractions, but I didn't know it was time. And I'm sitting here talking to my friend. I'm laying on my side. All of a sudden, I'm like, I feel bubbles. It feels like bubbles down there. And so I'm talking to my friends. I literally put my hand back there to see if my water broke. I didn't know that they broke my water already. So I put my hand on there, and I literally felt half of his body out. His body was out. Without me pushing, he just came out. So I started screaming. My friends started running out the room. I started screaming, he's out. And my mom ran. All I could hear is her footsteps coming in there. She was screaming, and all the doctors ran in. At this point, it was like a blur. They came in, and I looked around. I was crying. I looked around, and I saw all the doctors. I saw their faces, and they're all looking. It was so many in there. They're all looking, and they were looking down with faces like this, or like the saddest faces ever. And that's all I can remember. So they got him out, and I'm on the table still crying, and they're pulling out my placenta and cutting it and everything, and they gave him to me. And put him in my arms, and I held him for hours. And I remember he was 11 3/4 inches, and I think he was about 3 pounds, maybe. He was 3 pounds. I was 7 months pregnant. I had just hit 7 months pregnant, so I was really far along. I had him January 20th of 2013. So, and he was supposed to be born in April, at the beginning of April. So we held him for hours, and then finally they came in and wanted to take pictures. My mom was taking pictures, and as time came on, you know, I don't want people to get upset about this, like sad about it if it happened to them. But I just want to tell my story, okay? Because it's gonna get a little bit, you know, I don't know if you want to call it morbid or whatever. But as you took pictures, as time went on, because he was past, you know how babies skulls don't completely fuse. Well, his skull was in 4 sections, and you could see the sections, 4 sections. As time went on, you could see the sections. You could touch his head, and they would move. As time went on, you could see his body getting sunken in, and I still have pictures. I got pictures taken of him professionally at the hospital. Then finally the nurses came in, and they had the little bed that they put babies in, and they wanted to take him down to the morgue. So they did, and we were so sad to give him up, but we knew we had to. So after that, they kept me in the hospital for about 5 more days because my blood pressure didn't want to seem to go down. And finally I went home. Well, before I went home, they gave me a bear. I guess a woman had lost her baby, and she created a bear for women who lose their babies, and it has like a weight in it, and it's supposed to feel like a real baby. Let me tell you, that did not work, because when you lose a child, a full child, you don't feel, don't feel complete. You feel empty. When you go home, you feel like you're supposed to have something in your arms, and a bear is not going to do it. A bear is not going to do it. It was a nice gesture, but it is not the same. So, they also, this nurse also came in and gave me a balloon that said it's a boy. My mom did not like that. She thought it was a bad faith. I thought it was a nice gesture, but you know, she said that because I lost the baby, I shouldn't have had that balloon. It's just more bad memories. They also gave me a royal purple box, and it had on one side it had his footprints and on one side it has handprints. It had his weight in there, his name, everything, and it had a hat that they had put in on him. Inside he also had another knitted hat around his body because he was so small, so they didn't have anything else that could fit him. They put that in there. They put his birth certificate in there. No, they didn't put his birth certificate in there. I got that later. But they put the hospital bracelets that we would have been wearing in there as well. They had a lot of stuff in there, and it's just so nice, and it's beautiful. It's at my mom's house in San Diego. And afterwards, we got him cremated and put into a bunch of different necklaces. I got cremation jewelry, got his ashes put in there. His dad did as well. My family did. My mom, my dad, or my mom and my stepdad, and my sisters got some cremation jewelry. And we also have his ashes in an urn at my mom's house as well. So he hasn't been forgotten. But now it's 4 years later, or about to be 5 years later, on January 20th, and I'm sorry, January 17th. I'm so sorry. This is my baby. She was born January 20th, which is just weird. She was born 3 days after that. So, yeah, he was born January 17th, 2013, and he hasn't been forgotten. I think about him all the time. Even when I was pregnant with her, I was afraid the entire time, because right before I got pregnant with her, I had gotten pregnant, and I was about 8 weeks along, and I lost that one. So, and this one was another traumatic story, but that's going to be for another time. But I had lost that one, and 4 months later, I got pregnant with her. The whole time, I was nervous. I was scared. I felt like January was just a bad time for me because I also had a miscarriage in January, which was last January. So I just thought January was just a bad time for me. And when it was time for her to come, January hit, and I was just afraid. But we're going to do a story time on her, a birth story time for her, and another story time for that miscarriage, because that was very stressful, and it was just weird how it happened. So thank you guys for listening. I know it's gonna be hard for some people to listen to, because they might have gone through this, or they might be scared they're going to go through this, but this is my story, and I just wanted to tell people. I want to be out there for people to hear that you need to do what's right for your body. Don't listen to whatever you have read on the internet or what people have told you about smoking weed, because still, I don't have a problem with smoking weed. I love weed, but I mean, I don't smoke right now, but you know, I don't have a problem with people who do. I don't think weed is horrible. I don't think weed is a bad thing, but obviously, if you're pregnant, there's things that you shouldn't do, and I have learned from that. It's just sad that I had to learn that way, and it's sad that even afterwards I still did. But I just wanted to tell my story. Like, you know, if you know you're not supposed to do it while you're pregnant, don't do it, because there are a lot of stories out there of people saying that there's nothing wrong with it and all that stuff. And there's nothing wrong with it unless you're pregnant, you know. People have had healthy babies, just like people who smoked weed, who've smoked cigarettes, or people who've done meth or crack or whatever, pregnant, have come out with, their babies have made it full term. They've had problems, but they made it full term. But my story is one to tell you that, you know, that's not gonna always happen. Like, weed seems so harmless, but while you're pregnant, I am one of the stories to tell you the truth. And I had a problem with it, like, while I was pregnant. It caused my blood pressure to go up, all this stuff. Like, that's what happened. And I just want to tell the truth about that. I want people to know about that. So, you know, if you listen to other people, at least listen to my story and take it for a warning. And if you still do it after that, then that's you. But my story is one to tell you that things can happen, okay? So I just want to thank you for listening to my story, and I want everybody to have a great day.